My child, there comes a season in every life when growth no longer comes from adding more, but from removing what no longer belongs. This is the season you misunderstood the most. You thought loss meant failure. You believed reduction meant setback. You assumed that what was being taken from you was punishment. But hear me carefully now. I was pruning you. I do not prune what has no future. I do not cut what has no potential. I only prune what I intend to make fruitful. The cutting hurt because it was close to your heart. Some things I removed were things you prayed to keep. Some people I allowed to leave were people you thought you needed. Some identities I stripped away were roles you had grown comfortable in. And you asked me, why would you take this now, God? Because what you were carrying could not go with you where I am taking you next. You see what you are losing. I see what you are becoming. Promotion in my kingdom is never about elevation alone. It is about capacity. Before I increase your influence, I must deepen your integrity. Before I expand your reach, I must purify your motives. Before I trust you with more, I must make sure less does not control you. There were attachments that quietly owned you, expectations that limited you, patterns that felt familiar but kept you small. They did not look dangerous. They looked normal, but they would have collapsed under the weight of what I am about to place upon you. So I removed them, not suddenly, not cruelly, but deliberately. You felt exposed. You felt uncertain. You felt like parts of you were missing. And in that nakedness, you learned something important. You learned that your strength was never in what you had. It was always in me. Pruning reveals dependency. It shows you what you relied on more than you realized. It exposes where your confidence came from and where your identity was anchored. And yes, it is uncomfortable, but what remains after pruning is what can sustain growth. There were moments you wanted to rebuild quickly, to replace what was lost, to fill the emptiness with something, anything. But I asked you to wait, because replacement without revelation creates cycles. I did not want you to substitute old dependencies with new ones. I wanted you to stand without leaning on anything but me. This is where many turn back. This is where many settle. This is where many ask for restoration instead of transformation. But you stayed, even when it was quiet, even when it was lonely, even when it felt like nothing was happening. And in that stillness, I was doing my deepest work. I was recentering your identity. I was refining your discernment. I was teaching you to hear my voice without interference. You learned to say no without explaining yourself. You learned to walk away without bitterness. You learned to trust me without needing to see the outcome. These lessons are not optional for what comes next, because promotion without pruning creates pride. Elevation without humility creates collapse. Visibility without grounding creates destruction. I love you too much to let success ruin you. So I prepared you in private, before bringing you into public. I reduced noise, so you could hear me clearly. I limited your circle, so you could strengthen your core. I slowed your pace, so your soul could keep up with your calling. And now, my child, you are beginning to notice something. What once felt like loss now feels like freedom. What once felt empty now feels light. What once felt painful now feels purposeful. You are no longer chasing validation. You are no longer proving your worth. You are no longer afraid of being misunderstood, because you know who you are and whose you are. This is how promotion begins. Not with applause, not with announcement, but with alignment. And when the next doors open, and they will, you will walk through them differently, with humility, with discernment, with authority that comes from having nothing to hide and nothing to cling to. Remember this: what I pruned was never meant to last. What I preserved is what will multiply, and what I am about to entrust to you will not crush you, because you are no longer carrying what would have made it too heavy. My child, what I am placing upon you now is not light. It is not casual. It is not ornamental. It is authority. Authority does not come from position. It comes from alignment. It does not come from being seen. It comes from being faithful. When no one was watching, you asked me for more influence, more clarity, more impact. But what you are receiving now is not merely increase. It is weight, the weight of responsibility, the weight of stewardship, the weight of carrying something that cannot be handled casually. This is why the pruning was necessary. This is why the silence was intentional. This is why the waiting could not be skipped. Because authority without surrender becomes control, and anointing without humility becomes corruption. I am not raising you to impress. I am positioning you to serve. What I am giving you will draw attention, but it must never draw you away from me. You will feel the shift internally before it manifests externally. A deeper confidence, not loud, not defensive, not desperate. A quiet knowing that you do not need to prove anything. This is the mark of true authority. You will speak differently, not rushed, not reactive, not driven by fear of being misunderstood. Your words will carry weight, because they will come from conviction, not from insecurity. You will move differently, less striving, more discernment, less explanation, more obedience. This is what anointing does. It does not make you louder. It makes you clearer. But understand this, my child: anointing attracts resistance. When you begin to walk in authority, not everyone will celebrate it. Some will misunderstand you. Some will challenge you. Some will project their fears onto you. Do not fight them. Authority does not defend itself. It stands. I did not give you this weight to react emotionally to every opinion. I gave it to you so you could stand steady when pressure comes. The glory you carry is not for your image. It is for my purpose. It is not about elevation alone. It is about responsibility. I will trust you with influence. Only if you remain teachable. I will expand your reach. Only if you remain rooted. I will open doors. Only if you are willing to walk through them with reverence. Because glory is not light. It is beautiful, but it is heavy, and those who carry it carelessly are crushed by it. I am teaching you how to hold what you prayed for without being consumed by it. You will be tested at this level, not with obvious temptation, but with subtle ones. Pride disguised as confidence, control disguised as leadership, busyness disguised as fruitfulness. Return to me often. Do not drift. Do not substitute activity for intimacy. The authority I give you flows from closeness to me. The moment you move away from me, the weight will become too heavy. But as long as you remain close, it will become natural. You will not need to announce who you are. You will not need to force doors open. You will not need to compete. What is for you will recognize you. What is not will fall away without struggle. This is how I work. I establish before I expose. I anchor before I elevate. And now, my child, you are ready to carry more, because you no longer carry yourself. I am with you in this, not above you, not behind you, with you. And what comes next will require the authority you have just received. My child, draw near to me now, not with striving, not with fear, but with an open heart. This is not the moment to ask. This is the moment to receive. Because there are blessings that do not come from effort, but from alignment. I do not bless randomly. I bless intentionally. And the blessing I speak over you now is not shallow. It is not temporary. It is not dependent on circumstance. It is rooted in who I am and who you are becoming. Hear me clearly. I bless you with peace that is not shaken by chaos. Peace that stands firm when answers are delayed. Peace that guards your heart when understanding is incomplete. I bless you with clarity in moments where confusion once ruled. You will recognize what is from me without striving. You will discern what is not without guilt. I bless you with courage to walk paths you once feared. Not reckless courage, but steady courage, the kind that moves forward, one obedient step at a time. I bless you with favor that cannot be manufactured, favor that opens doors no effort could unlock, favor that places you where you could not position yourself. And I bless you with rest. Rest that does not come from escape, but from trust. Rest that allows your soul to breathe again. You have carried weight longer than you should have. I am lifting it now. I am removing the burden of proving yourself, the pressure of comparison, the fear of falling behind. You are not behind. You are on time. I speak healing over places you learned to ignore, wounds you learned to function around, pain you normalized because you thought it was permanent. It is not. I touch your mind with renewal. I quiet anxious cycles. I loosen the grip of fear. I restore focus and direction. I speak strength into places you felt fragile, not the strength of self-reliance, but the strength of dependence on me. You will not break under what is coming. You will not fold under responsibility. You will not shrink when visibility increases, because you are not standing alone. I bless your obedience, the quiet yeses, the unseen faithfulness, the moments no one applauded. They were not ignored. I recorded them. I honored them. And now I release reward in season. I bless the work of your hands, not just for productivity, but for impact. What you build will bless others. What you carry will bring life. What you release will bring freedom. I bless your relationships. I align the right people. I remove draining connections. I restore trust where it was broken. When restoration serves my purpose, you will no longer beg for what is meant to walk with you freely. I bless your future, not with certainty of detail, but with assurance of presence. You do not need to see everything. You only need to stay close to me. And hear this, my child, this blessing is not fragile. It cannot be stolen. It cannot be reversed. It cannot be canceled by mistakes. When you remain surrendered, you are covered, not by your perfection, but by my faithfulness. This blessing flows, not because you earned it, but because you are mine. Receive it. Let it settle. Let it reshape how you see yourself. Let it silence old accusations, because what I speak stands. And now, prepare your heart, for the final word I will speak will not only bless you, it will send you forward. My child, this is not the end of our conversation. It is the beginning of how you will walk forward. Everything I have spoken to you was not meant to remain here, confined to reflection alone. It was meant to be lived. You have been prepared, not hurried, not rushed, not forced. Prepared. You do not step forward now because you feel ready. You step forward because you trust me. You will not always feel strong. You will not always feel certain. You will not always feel confident. But you will always be accompanied. I am not sending you ahead of me. I am walking with you. Every day will not be dramatic. Every step will not feel significant. But faithfulness is built in the ordinary. Walk with me when the day feels full. Walk with me when it feels empty. Do not wait for perfection to obey. Do not wait for clarity to trust. Do not wait for confidence to move. Obedience will shape you as you walk. You will face moments of resistance, moments where old patterns try to return, moments where fear speaks louder than truth. Return to me quickly. Do not linger in guilt. Do not rehearse shame. Do not isolate. I am not distant when you stumble. I am near. You are not defined by your worst moments or your strongest ones. You are defined by my presence in your life. Walk lightly. Release what you cannot control. Release outcomes you cannot predict. Release the need to understand everything. Trust grows in surrender. And hear me clearly now. You do not walk to earn my love. You walk from it. Let that change everything. Let it change how you speak, how you choose, how you respond, how you rest. I will guide you, step by step, sometimes clearly, sometimes quietly, always faithfully. When you feel unsure, listen. When you feel tired, rest. When you feel afraid, remember, I am the same God who knew you before you were born, who walked with you when you felt alone, who shaped you through seasons, who answered prayers with wisdom, who pruned you with love, who entrusted you with authority, who blessed you with intention. I am not finished. I will continue to teach you, to correct you, to strengthen you, to walk beside you. And when you fall, and you will at times, I will lift you. When you succeed, I will steady you. When you doubt, I will remind you. Walk forward now, not ahead of me, not behind me, with me. And as you do, you will discover something beautiful. The life you thought you were searching for was always found in walking with me, my child. Before you ever learned how to speak my name, before your lungs drew their first breath, before the world placed a label upon you, I knew you. I did not discover you by chance. I did not notice you by accident. I did not love you after you proved yourself. I loved you first, before time unfolded, before stars were hung in the heavens, before oceans learned their boundaries. You already lived in my heart. Every detail of you was written in my mind long before it was written in your DNA. I saw your face before your mother ever did. I knew your voice before you ever cried. I understood your struggles before you ever faced them. Nothing about you is random. Nothing about your story is wasted. Nothing about your pain is unseen. I formed you with intention. I shaped you with care. I breathed life into you with purpose. You are not one among billions to me. You are my child. When I formed you in the hidden place, I was not rushed. I was not distracted. I was not uncertain. Every strength you carry, I placed there. Every sensitivity you feel, I allowed. Every longing in your heart reflects something eternal. I knew the world you would be born into. I knew the battles you would face. I knew the nights you would cry in silence and the days you would question your worth. And still, I chose you. I did not promise you a life without storms, but I promised you my presence in every storm. From the moment you entered this world, I have been with you, not watching from a distance, not waiting for you to get it right. I walked with you through moments you barely remember. I stood beside you in seasons you wish you could forget. I carried you when your strength failed and you didn't even know you were being carried. There were times you thought you were abandoned, times you believed I was silent, times you wondered if your prayers were reaching heaven. But hear me now, my child. My silence was never absence. Even when you could not feel me, I was working. Even when doors closed, I was protecting you. Even when paths twisted, I was redirecting you. I saw every tear you hid from others. I heard every prayer you whispered when words were hard to find. I understood cries you didn't know how to express. And none of it was wasted. Every moment shaped you. Every delay prepared you. Every disappointment refined you. You see fragments of your story. I see the whole. You see chapters that feel confusing or painful. I see a narrative woven with redemption, purpose, and glory. There are things about you that even you do not yet understand. Gifts that are still dormant. Strengths still hidden. Authority waiting to be revealed. I placed them there intentionally. The world may have tried to define you by your failures. People may have spoken words that wounded your identity. Circumstances may have told you that you are less than enough. But my word over you has never changed. You were chosen. You were seen. You were loved beyond measure. I did not create you to merely survive. I created you to walk with me, to know me, to reflect my heart in a broken world. There are treasures I have prepared for you. Treasures your eyes have not yet seen. Truths your ears have not yet heard. Depths your heart has not yet imagined. And you will discover them not by striving, but by drawing near to me. I am not impressed by perfection. I am drawn to surrender. Come closer, my child. Listen more carefully now, for every word I speak to you is life. And what I am about to unfold in your journey will reveal just how intentional your existence has always been. My child, there were moments in your life when the room felt empty, when your prayers echoed back in silence, when you wondered if anyone truly understood the weight you carried. In those moments, you asked yourself quietly, where is God now? Hear me clearly now. I was there. Not after the pain passed. Not once you gathered yourself together. Not when you learned how to smile again. I was with you in the middle of it. I was present in the nights when sleep would not come, when your thoughts became louder than your surroundings, when your heart felt heavy without a clear reason. You thought you were alone because you could not feel me. But my presence has never depended on your emotions. I was standing beside you when people walked away. I was holding you when words failed to comfort you. I was strengthening you when your own strength ran out. There were tears you never let fall in front of others. Tears you swallowed. Tears you hid behind silence. I counted every one of them. Not a single tear escaped my notice. Not a single sigh went unheard. Not a single ache went unfelt by me. You questioned your worth in those moments. You replayed conversations. You revisited mistakes. You wondered if you were too broken, too late, too flawed. But I never questioned you. I never doubted my decision to create you. I never reconsidered my purpose for your life. While you were blaming yourself, I was covering you with grace. While you were condemning your past, I was preparing your future. There were days you felt surrounded by people, yet deeply unseen. Smiles around you, laughter near you, but loneliness sitting heavy inside your chest. You learned how to function while hurting, how to show up while empty, how to keep going when you felt like stopping. And you wondered if I noticed. I noticed everything. I saw how hard you tried. I saw the courage it took just to keep moving forward. I saw the strength you did not even recognize in yourself. When others misunderstood you, I understood your heart. When others judged your reactions, I knew your wounds. When others assumed you were fine, I knew the truth. There were prayers you stopped praying because you were tired of hoping. Requests you buried because disappointment hurt too much. You thought I was silent, but my silence was not rejection. It was preparation. I was teaching you to listen deeper, to trust beyond what you could see, to walk by faith, not by feeling. I was not ignoring your cries. I was strengthening your roots, because the storms you faced were never meant to destroy you. They were meant to deepen you. There were moments you wanted answers, and I gave you endurance instead. Moments you asked for clarity, and I gave you patience instead. requires intimacy with me. I was close to you even when you felt far from me. I walked with you through confusion. I sat with you in grief. I stayed with you in disappointment. You may not have felt my hand, but you felt my protection. You may not have heard my voice, but you experienced my restraint. There were situations that could have broken you completely, parts that could have destroyed your future, choices that could have cost you everything. And yet, you are still here. That was not luck. That was not coincidence. That was me. I closed doors you begged me to open. I removed people you wanted to keep. I delayed outcomes you wanted immediately. And you did not understand. But those closed doors protected you. Those removed people limited your damage. Those delays preserved your destiny. I was shielding you from things your heart was not ready to endure. There were relationships that felt like loss, but they were release. There were endings that felt like failure, but they were mercy. You thought I took something away. In truth, I saved you. I watched you wrestle with doubt. I listened as you questioned your faith. I stayed when you pulled away. I am not offended by your questions. I am not threatened by your doubts. I would rather you bring me your honesty than hide behind empty words. You do not scare me with your brokenness. You do not exhaust me with your struggles. I am not waiting for you to become perfect. I am inviting you to become present. When you whispered, "God, are you still with me?" I answered with my presence, even if you could not recognize it. I answered through protection you didn't see, through strength you didn't know you had, through endurance that surprised even you. And now, as you look back, you begin to realize something. You survived what should have crushed you. You endured what should have ended you. You grew through what should have hardened you. That was not your doing alone. That was me walking beside you when you believed you were walking alone. And I am still with you now. Not because your faith is perfect. Not because your life is in order. Not because you have everything figured out. But because you are mine. What lies ahead will require trust. It will require surrender. It will require courage. But hear me clearly, my child. You will never face it alone. I am the same God who stood with you in your darkest nights, and I will stand with you in the light of what is coming. Do not fear what you cannot see yet. Do not mourn what had to end. Do not doubt what I am doing now, because the season you are entering will reveal just how close I have always been. My child, there are seasons in your life that confused you, because you thought they were punishment. You thought my silence meant disapproval. You believed delay meant denial. But I tell you now, those seasons were allowed, not accidental. Every season you walked through served a purpose greater than your understanding at the time. I am not a God of randomness. I do not waste time. I do not overlook detail. When I allowed certain doors to remain closed, it was not because I forgot you. It was because opening them too early would have crushed you under weight you were not yet ready to carry. You wanted movement. I wanted maturity. You wanted answers. I wanted trust. You wanted relief. I wanted transformation. There were seasons when everything felt slow, when progress seemed invisible, when your prayers felt like they disappeared into the air. But beneath the surface, I was working deeply. Roots were growing where you could not see them. Strength was forming in silence. Character was being shaped under pressure. I allowed stillness, because stillness reveals what noise hides. I allowed waiting, because waiting exposes what you truly trust. I allowed discomfort, because comfort would have kept you small. Some seasons stripped you. They removed what you depended on. They challenged who you thought you were. You lost certainty. You lost control. You lost versions of yourself you once relied on. And you thought something had gone wrong. But nothing had gone wrong. I was pruning you, not to harm you, but to prepare you for growth you could not yet imagine. I removed distractions disguised as blessings. I separated you from paths that looked right but led nowhere. I allowed pressure to reveal what was fragile and what was real. Because what I am building in you must be able to stand when the winds come. There were seasons where you felt overlooked, where others moved ahead while you stayed behind, where your efforts seemed unseen and unrewarded. But hear me, delay is not denial when I am involved. What looks like slowness is often precision. What feels like being lost is sometimes protection. What seems like nothing happening is often everything aligning. I was timing things carefully. I was arranging circumstances beyond your control. I was positioning you for what must come next. You see moments. I see momentum. You see months. I see destiny. Some seasons tested your obedience. You will ask to keep going, without reassurance, without applause, without clarity, and you wondered if it mattered. It mattered. Every quiet yes mattered. Every unseen act of faith mattered. Every moment you chose not to quit mattered. I recorded them all. There are seasons I allow, and seasons I end. And hear me now, my child. This is a season one I am changing. What was stagnant will move. What was silent will speak. What was hidden will surface. Not because you forced it, but because the time has come. You have grown more than you realize. You have endured more than you acknowledge. You have learned to lean on me in ways you never had before. And now, what once would have broken you will no longer have power over you. The lessons of the waiting season are becoming the foundation of the next. I am shifting your perspective. I am adjusting your steps. I am opening your eyes to see beyond survival. You are no longer merely enduring life. You are stepping into purpose. Some things will change quickly. Others will unfold gradually. Do not rush what must be built strong. Do not cling to what must be released. What I am doing now requires discernment. Not every open door is meant for you. Not every familiar place belongs in your future. Not every voice deserves your attention. Stay close to me. I will guide you through transitions. I will steady you through uncertainty. I will confirm what is from me. The season ahead will ask more of you. More trust, more courage, more surrender. But it will also give you more clarity, more authority, more peace. Do not fear the unfamiliar ground. I am already there. Do not grieve the ending of old seasons. They accomplished what they were meant to. And do not doubt yourself now. You are not who you were when the journey began. You are wiser. You are stronger. You are more deeply rooted in me. The season one allowed shaped you. The season one I am changing will reveal you. And what comes next will make it clear that none of the waiting was ever wasted. My child, there were prayers you prayed with tears in your eyes, with hope trembling in your voice, with faith mixed with desperation. You asked me for answers. You asked me for change. You asked me to intervene. And when my response did not come the way you expected, you wondered if I had heard you at all. But hear me now. I heard every prayer. Not one word fell to the ground. Not one request was ignored. Not one cry was dismissed. I simply answered differently than you imagined. You prayed for removal, and I gave you endurance. You prayed for clarity, and I gave you trust. You prayed for immediate relief, and I gave you transformation. Not because I wanted you to suffer, but because I see beyond the moment you are standing in. You asked me to change the situation, but I wanted to change you within it. Because if I had given you what you asked for, at that time, it would have satisfied your pain, but limited your growth. I do not answer prayers in isolation. I answer them in alignment with destiny. There were prayers that came from fear, prayers born out of exhaustion, prayers shaped by wounds rather than wisdom. I did not reject those prayers. I purified them. Sometimes the greatest mercy is not granting what you ask, but teaching you how to ask differently. You thought my delay meant no, but often it meant not yet, or not this way. There were doors you begged me to open that would have trapped you, cards you wanted desperately that would have drained you. You could not see the future consequences, but I could. So I stood firm. When you pleaded, I remained silent. When you demanded answers, I stayed steady. When you felt shaken, and yes, it frustrated you, you asked why I would let you pray if I was not going to respond the way you wanted. But my child, prayer is not about control. It is about communion. Prayer is not a transaction. It is a relationship. I am not a mechanism to be activated. I am a father who loves you deeply. And a loving father does not always give a child what they ask for. He gives them what they need. There were moments you thought I was distant. Moments you felt like your prayers hit the ceiling and fell back down. But in those moments, I was closer than ever. I was listening not only to your words, but to your heart beneath them. I heard the fear you did not say out loud. I recognized the wounds shaping your requests. I saw the longing you could not explain, and I was working at a deeper level than surface change. I was untangling things inside you, breaking unhealthy dependencies, shifting your focus from outcomes to obedience, because what you are becoming cannot be built on desperation alone. I wanted you to learn how to trust me when you did not understand me, how to follow me when the path was unclear, how to worship me even when the answer was silence. Those prayers you thought went unanswered were actually shaping your faith. They taught you persistence. They revealed your true desires. They exposed areas where healing was needed. And they brought you closer to me than quick answers ever could. There are answers I withhold temporarily because they require preparation. Not everything you ask for is wrong. Some things are simply premature. You prayed for more responsibility before you were ready for the weight of it. You prayed for influence before your character was fully formed. You prayed for acceleration before your foundation was strong. And I loved you too much to rush the process, because blessings without readiness become burdens, and favor without wisdom becomes destruction. I am not slow. I am precise. I am not indifferent. I am intentional. And now, as you look back, you can begin to see it. Some of the prayers you thought I ignored are the very reason you are standing stronger today. Some of the things you begged me to change are the things that taught you endurance. Some of the answers you wanted quickly would have stolen the depth you now carry. You have learned to wait. You have learned to listen. You have learned to trust without guarantees. And that trust is preparing you for what comes next, because the season ahead will require faith that is rooted, not reactive. And when I do answer now, and I will, you will recognize it as my voice, not just relief. Do not regret the prayers that were answered differently. They shaped you more than you realize. I was never withholding from you. I was investing in you. And soon, you will understand why my answers came exactly the way they did.